Good evening, everyone. How are you doing today? Well, this is a bit of an impromptu stream, but why not? Figure everybody's going to be looking in on the whole Trump situation here. And yes, I did get the aspect ratio fixed. And probably should have gone with, good evening, it's I, the Bleach Demon, as usual. But, we can't be too perfect. I don't want to embarrass everybody else out there. But, shall we dive right into it? So, figured we'd start off with a little bit of humor from possibly one of the greatest websites out there, The People's Cube. And this particular image, I think, just encapsulates everything you need to know. FBI raid headline already cliche. The People's News refuses to run it. It becomes so passé. Yes, and you've got the lovely images of the SWAT team, which running in, trying to get his burgers and fries and Diet Coke out of the safe. But, it's just one of these topics you have to start with humor. If not, you're going to just go completely mad and basically turn out to be the Democrats, some humorless buffoons. And I will say, while I'm not the biggest Trump fan out there, mostly because he's from New York City, cough, cough, but the lengths to which this man is being persecuted is rather amusing. So, let's hop on over to Reuters. FBI searches Trump's Florida home as part of the presidential records probe. So, this is, from my developing understanding, because there's some not very clear knowledge coming out, but basically the argument is because Trump kept some records from his time in the Oval Office, and they did not translate the, basically he didn't leave them for the National Archives, and then he turned some over. Again, this is all very hazy. We'll probably delve into some more accurate information as we're going along. Although, being Reuters, I'm not always so sure. But this is just the ever-expanding probes that are going on. So, let us read a little bit here. I'm sure this is at least a little less beanie-ish than Tim Pool. Thank God. Palm Beach, Florida, August 8th. Reuters. Former President Donald Trump said FBI agents raided his Mar-a-Lago estate Monday, broke into a safe in what his son acknowledges part of an investigation into Trump's removal of official presidential records from the White House to his Florida resort. The unprecedented search of a former president's home would mark a significant escalation into records investigation, which is one of the probes facing from his time in office and in private business. So it's a fishing expedition. That's essentially what it is going on. And are any of us really shocked? That's kind of the follow-up question here. I can't say that I'm shocked whatsoever. But we'll see what they're espousing. Trump was not present, which that's something I'd like to touch on a little bit later, although it might be coming up sooner. Federal law called the Presidential Records Act requires the preservation of memos, letters, notes, emails, faxes, and other written communications related to the president's official duties. And that's where, okay, matter of record for the history, the President Trump library someday, which every president seems hell-bent on getting. And that seems to be the main thrust, that it has to go through the National Archives before anything else. And let's take a quick look at the photos provided by Reuters. You'll notice county sheriff here, 2 of them, plus Secret Service. Which, that kind of gets into the topic I'm really curious about, is how much advance notice did the Secret Service get in all of this? Because somebody rolling up to pretend to be the FBI is a real possibility in this day and age. And Secret Service doesn't always take kindly to people pulling a fast one on them. Yeah, unless it's in a third world country where they're involved with some illegal things. But that's neither here nor there. So, yeah, we get into the records flap. And again, there's so much here that you all can delve into yourself, and I would highly recommend. I just don't like where this is trending over records, because long story short in all this, Trump has turned over some of the records. They're wanting more, but rather than go through proper channels and try to do shouldn't say not go through proper channels. They did go through the legal channels, but they didn't go through the channels that most presidents are granted, or at least former presidents. Yes. Of course, they have to go with the most ridiculous images to show what clowns they believe the Trump supporters are, which, let's be honest, we've seen the screaming purple hairs over just about any Democrat talking point. And they're trying to make a foam hat make people ridiculous. I'm sorry, I just don't care anymore. I really don't. So, this is BBC, and they're talking about the Republican uproar over the raid of the Trump home. Well, yeah, I mean, this is definitely a politically motivated, like every Democrat action has been. And why are we shocked at all? So, FBI, Department of Justice have yet to comment on a search which Mr. Trump disclosed Monday evening, reportedly linked to an investigation into his handling of classified and sensitive material. First time a former U.S. president's home has ever been searched by law enforcement. That tells you all you really need to know there. Reports suggest FBI activity is connected to an investigation into whether Mr. Trump, a Republican, removed classified records from the White House and took them to Mar-a-Lago. Several boxes were taken away by unnamed law enforcement official. We know they're FBI. Good covering your butts there, BBC. Republicans have depicted this search as politically motivated. Well, no shit. And leading figures demanding a briefing and explanation by Attorney General Merrick Garland. Also, a reminder, that was Obama's pick for the Supreme Court. Not exactly the most above-board gentleman, we could say. No former president of the United States has been ever subject to a raid of his personal residence in American history, he wrote on Twitter. This is Mike Pence. So, there's some saber rattling amongst the Republicans, yada, yada, yada. And this is, again, where old Joe Tato's cabinet, the people that are really running the executive branch, are hopping to White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters on Tuesday that President Joe Tato had been given no advance notice by the FBI of the raid, and that he learned about this from public reports. The president was not briefed and was not aware of it. No one at the White House was given a heads up, she said. I'm sorry. While that may be true, there had to be stirrings because the Secret Service knows, and that information gets passed around amongst colleagues. It's just a matter of course. Let's see. Unnamed law enforcement official told CBS that the Secret Service was notified shortly before that a warrant was served at 10 a.m. local time. Democrat Speaker of the House said she first learned of the visit by FBI agents through public reports on her phone. Likely story. To have a warrant, you need justification, she told the NBC News, and that no one is above the law, not even a president or former presidents of the United States. Yeah, well, what about her husband? What about your husband, Nancy? Is he above the law? Come on, let's have a general discussion. And yeah, they're going into other fun, referencing January 6th, the fun that was there, Justice Department examining his challenges of the election, whatever. Prosecutor of Fulton County investigating. We're trying to interfere with this results. That's actually news to me, but I'm not shocked. And then, inflating assets, sexual assault, yada yada. The grab them by the pussy realm of bullshit. So, not anything really new or groundbreaking on this one. Ah, yes, AP. Good old Associated Press. Not Ardent Party, thankfully. But again, they're having this lovely time of trying to paint Trump supporters as sycophants and the righteous and calm, patriotic, anti-Trumpers. And just, my general thoughts on that. Everybody takes it too far. Whether it's, the women fainting for Obama, or, running around with the Trump flags. It's all circus. It's all part of the game. But, the way it's being portrayed always makes my gears start ticking and saying, ah, yes. The Ministry of Truth is hard at work today. More Secret Service pictures. Again, not typically a bunch of guys that you want to surprise with anything. So this was clearly known at least well enough in advance. And, we'll see if that runs. And you guys don't have audio. I just realized. But again, nothing really spectacular there. They're just local news reporter covering it, yada, yada, yada. Nobody really cares about her instant on-the-ground reaction. New Yorkers being New Yorkers. What another lovely cesspit. And again, they're starting off at the Associated Press with the FBI's unprecedented search of former presidents' residents, ricocheted around the government's polarized. Answers weren't quickly forthcoming. Surprise, surprise, because it's part of a fishing expedition. So, we're going through. Again, because they're trying to paint Trump in the worst possible light, referencing Watergate and the January 6th. I mean, they might as well go and dredge up, the whole urination on bed, Russiagate scandal, all that crap. But, Because Orange Man bad, because, mean tweets. And, just hopping around. Federal judge had to sign off a warrant establishing FBI agents had shown probable cause they could descend on Trump's shuttered-for-the-season home. He was in New York, 1,000 or so miles away. Monday's search intensified the months-long probe into how classified documents ended up in boxes of White House records located at Mar-a-Lago earlier this year. A separate grand jury is investigating efforts to overturn the results of the presidential election in 2020, and it all adds to potential legal peril for Trump as he lays the groundwork for potential run in 2024. So, you can kind of see where this is trending here, chat. So, Justice Department spokesman Dina Iverson declined to comment on the search, including whether Garland had personally authorized it. Makes you wonder. And, Jean-Pierre making the same excuses. And, I think we're just kind of beating a dead horse over this. And you've gone through a lot of this, but the one question that I keep coming up with is, were these documents always classified? Did they go through some process where they were declassified by Trump, then reclassified later, which kind of makes it an ex post facto fishing expedition? But again, we will know more as things develop, but I wanted to get on this a little bit because it's very important this election year. So, moving on. So we've got the Daily Mail again. Eric Trump reveals he told Donald FBI raided Mar-a-Lago. Ex-president's son claims they ransacked his office and the safe was empty, and says that all D.C. wants to do is attack Biden's greatest threat, other than dementia. Eric Trump appeared on Hannity Monday night, where he accused the current administration of wanting to attack Biden's greatest threat. His comments come after his father, Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home, was raided earlier, yada, yada, yada. And again, the ransacking. GOP leader Kevin McCarthy called out U.S. Attorney Merrick Garland on Twitter, telling him to preserve your documents and clear your calendar. Clearly a threat for a probe launched by Congress. And that's really, Biden's greatest threat. I just find that amazingly humorous. Biden's greatest threat is tripping after chasing the dog in the shower again, clearly. So, yep. It was court-authorized. FBI gave U.S. Secret Service agents at Mar-a-Lago advance notice, and they cooperated, letting them onto the property. Now, one government hand washes the other. But, yeah, this is... Again, I'm trying to go through it without being too repetitious, but everything's pretty much repetitious at this point. To have 30 FBI agents, actually more than that, descend on Mar-a-Lago gives you absolutely, no notice through the gates, start ransacking the office, ransacking a closet. They broke into the safe. They didn't even have anything in the safe. Give me a break. I presume this is Eric Trump speaking. They didn't come from the local FBI field office in Palm Beach. This came from? They came from the one place, the one building that is the White House in Washington, D.C. They want to attack the guy who they view the greatest threat, Biden's greatest threat. Again, that's a little repetitious. But no. President Trump's lost a little bit of weight, looking better. Let's see. This is kind of the crux of the matter, which, of course, you have to scroll through it. Investigation focused on material that Trump brought to him to Mar-a-Lago after he left the White House, the New York Slimes reported, specifically classified information in his private possession, which is a violation of federal law. Trump took 15 boxes of material with him on January 2021 when he left Washington, D.C. The boxes were returned to the National Archive a year later in January 2022, but agents were looking to see if Trump had additional presidential records or any classified documents in his South Florida. So, again, I would just like to know, were these always classified, occasionally classified? I won't belabor this point too hard with going through. I'm sure you guys have probably seen this beaten up quite a bit in your news feeds already. So we will. Yep. More of the same. Here we go. Boxes spotted outside of the West Wing. So these are they're claiming are some of the boxes that were taken. Ooh, boxes of unknown contents. So, yep. Oh, yes. So, this is one of those things. You see this, it's like, yeah, it's goofy and petty, but you have to remember, the Clinton administration stole the W keys off of the keyboards in the White House when they left office after the 2000 election. Why are we shocked by any of their petty actions and hypocrisy? There's just no other word. One of the people who spoke on, and this is Washington Post, where democracy dies in darkness, even though they're the ones putting on the blindfold and giving you the cigarette while shoving you up against the proverbial wall. One of the people who spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss details said agents were conducting court-authorized search, part of a long-running investigation, whether documents, some of them top secret, yes, classified, top secret, it's all over the place. Lovely. And of course, Washington Post is overly dramatic. That could be a violation of the Presidential Record Act, requires preservation of memos, yada yada. We've already been through this. Yep. President Trump, my beautiful home, Mar-a-Lago, in Palm Beach, Florida, is currently under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents, Trump said in a statement released through his political action committee, Save America. Yep. So, President of the FBI Agents Association, Brian O'Hare, issued a broad defense of the investigators who carried out the court-approved searches. Of course. Warrants, said search warrants are issued by federal judges, must be detailed, clear procedural rules, and product of collaboration and consultation with the relevant DOJ attorneys. Yeah. So, yep, just more butt covering. Christopher Wray in 2017 after Comey. Yeah, this is why the spoils system needs to be returned. Which, those who don't know that bit of American history, the spoils system was basically a new president, new administration, and remove all of the heads of all of the administrations under its purview instantly with and basically walk in, they're all fired, and maybe they get their jobs back, sometimes they don't. And that will fight the bureaucracy that we've Sorry, I just caught this line. Yeah, the bureaucracy is truly the crux of the matter. It's self-serving. When you get 87,000 new IRS agents, you really have to ask, are they all doing this just for the betterment of the nation, or is this just going to be some fishing expedition and political aspects? And I just don't know. So, yes. But this sentence is rather bothersome. The Presidential Records Act is critical to our democracy, in which the government is held accountable by the people. David S. Ferrerio, then the archivist of the United States, said in a statement in February. Again, this critical to our democracy. The United States is a federal republic, and it just makes you wonder why, how many people just directly buy into this for no other reason than it feels good. Pardon me. So, yes. And it's important to note that the volume is only one way documents are taken. So, yep. It's just more of the same. Oh, of course. So that's curious. Yeah. All tied together. There's no strings that aren't going to be pulled. So, political playbook after GOP torches FBI, hugs Trump. Well, it's a political game at this stage. It always has been. So, let's see. Ryan Lizza is one of the authors. Senior political analyst for CNN. Every presidential election since 2000. That's curious. Eugene Daniels. And we'll get back and go back. I just wanted to touch on these authors of this piece. Correspondent with focus on Kamala Harris, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden. I think I mispronounced that, mostly intentionally. The second gentleman and emergent power players in Washington. Since joining Politico in 2018, Democrat presidential primary, video journalism, yada, yada, yada. We know their credentials, and we'll probably get a good idea of their political slant as we go through. And we'll just read some of the highlights here. So, let's see. News of the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago, the most aggressive law enforcement action ever taken against a former American president, broke last night. And in the most understated way possible. Okay. The age of bragging about repertorial prowess is normal. Sorsh was charmingly humble, the man who broke this. That's nice. Yada, yada, yada. Backstory. February letter. Ferrero, archivist of the United States, to Carolyn Maloney, Democrat, New York. Do I need to say fuck New York again? Yeah, I think I do. Fuck New York. Maloney of the Committee on Oversight and Reform through 2021, National Archives, Records Administration, ongoing communication with representatives of former Trump about boxes of White House records that he stashed in his home in West Palm Beach. The NARA, records. Recovered 15 boxes in January, including agency-identified, marked as classified national security information. Okay. Discovery of classified information triggered NARA staff to report their findings to the DOJ, and that's where it got serious for Trump. New York Slimes, Haberbaum, Ben Post, Adam Goldman. Federal prosecutors subsequently began managing grand jury investigation, according to people briefed on the matter. Prosecutors subpoenaed earlier this year to obtain boxes of classified documents. Okay. Authorities made interview requests to people who worked with the White House in the final days of the Trump presidency. Oh, that's not a fishing expedition, is it? Let's see. Yada, yada, yada. Trump suggested he was continuing to work with NARA and DOJ on the matter and was dumbfounded when a swarm of FBI agents spent hours combing through the materials in Monday Mar-a-Lago raid. While Trump was away in Manhattan, after working and cooperating with relevant government agencies, this unannounced raid on my home was not necessary or appropriate, he said in a statement. And that's the thing. Yada, yada, yada. More probable cause. Let's see. Yep, again, nothing new. GOP reaction. Immediate political impact in the GOP was to rally to Trump's defense. Well, no kidding. Look at what the Democrats did throughout the entire 2000s. Talking about, going after Bush, and more importantly, in the 1990s, when the Clinton scandal, which was not over sex, it was about perjury. Let's be very clear. That's perjury in a public information, in a court. That's where the problem was. It wasn't about anything else, no matter what the left says and what you've been told. It was all about perjury. So, let's see, back to some allies urging him to speed up his decision on 2024 in the wake of all of this. That no one in the GOP would challenge him now. Others say cool it and wait. That's fine. House members, senators, 2020 nominees, 2024 potential GOP candidates flooded social media with condemnation of Biden, Merrick Garland, and the FBI in solidarity with Trump. Let's see. Mitch McConnell, Majority Whip John Thune, Conference Chair Barrasso, Republican Policy Committee Blunt, and refrain from tweeting. Yeah, so as usual, they're trying to play the elder statesman role, which, let's be honest, the elder statesman thing is such bullshit anymore. So, let's see. And sorry, I'm boomering a bit here. We've got some stream problems on my end. Hopefully this won't mess things up too badly. Okay, I will keep chugging along. And again, I apologize if things have gotten disrupted. You see why I be the one. Welcome. At least somebody saw the memos. But yes, indeed. So, yep. I think this is just kind of all redundant. Let's see. Louis Gohmert, perhaps aware of the surge of violent rhetoric emanating from online Trump forums, as violent as I've seen, before the January 6th, appealed for calm. Don't let this lawless government provoke violence, he tweeted. Yes, UCYIB1. I did super chat sticks this morning. Oh, and student of history, welcome. Let's see. Cicero on being the elder statesman worked. Yep. I've been doing pretty well. Just trying to get my little bit of a rantiness part of the day done. Hopefully the both of you chugging along with this are enjoying yourselves or laughing at my ineptness with the channel at the moment. So, back to... Yeah, Politico, typical, leftist twat garbage. And, just... I don't even really need to go into this, because I'm sure you guys have all been, and it's just all the same damn talking points, because the media just repeats. Oh, let's see. Slow mode off. Well, if I could remember how to do that. I think you'll have to forgive me. I've kind of boomered this one up pretty hard today, to be honest. No. So, yeah, I will turn slow mode off for the next stream because I am completely incompetent. And I don't mind admitting that. It's in one of the settings that I have to do prior to getting on, and I spent this evening rebuilding my OBS for the third time, for whatever reason. So, but the one thing I thought was really interesting in all of this is the judge who did the warrant has some interesting ties. So, judge who okayed Mar-a-Lago raid, Obama donor once linked to Jeffrey Epstein. Florida federal magistrate judge who signed off on the FBI warrant of the all this. Let's see. Donated to Obama's 2008 campaign months after he left the U.S. Attorney's Office to represent employees convicted of pedophilia. Jeffrey Epstein, who received immunity from the long-running sex traffic investigation of the financier. Sources tell the Post that the judge Robert Reinhart, good Lord. You can tell where my brain's been today, gentlemen. Judge Bruce Reinhart approved a warrant that enabled federal agents to converge on the palatial South Florida estate on Monday. Unannounced raid on my home, Trump called it. Reinhart elevated to magistrate in March 2018 after 10 years in private practice. That November, the Miami Herald reported that he'd represented several of Epstein's employees, included by Reinhart's own admission to the outlet, Epstein's pilots, his scheduler, Sarah Kalin, and Nadia Marcinkova, who Epstein described as his Yugoslavian sex slave. Oh, isn't that lovely? So, yep. Oh, the two of you are very kind. Yeah, I've actually done all of this entirely on my own as far as the setup, so a little bit happy about that. Colleen and Marcinkova, there we go, are among Epstein's lieutenants who were granted immunity as part of the controversial 2007 deal with federal prosecutors that allowed the pervert to plead guilty to state charges rather than federal crimes. And the whole 13-month sentence in a county jail. So, yeah, it's just a little too curious how this all kind of gets tied together. It's a cabal of the same of mind, as I've often called it. Let's see. As recently as, 2011 affidavit, Reinhardt denied he'd done anything improper and insisted that since he had not involved federal investigation in Epstein, he was not privy to inside information about the case. However, in a 2013 court filing, Reinhardt's former colleagues contradicted him, saying that he had learned confidential, non-public information about the Epstein matter while employed by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Reinhardt noted to the Herald, Miami Herald, in a report that a complaint filed against him by a lawyer for Epstein's victims had been dismissed by the Justice Department. Student of history, given what we happened to know about Epstein and his usual colleagues, that's unpleasant. Yes, it is. Let's see. Private practice, yada yada. Reinhardt managed a docket to cover a full spectrum of federal crimes, including narcotics, violent crimes, and public corruption, financial frauds, child pornography, and immigration. Yeah, this is all probably some of the most unshocking stuff that we're learning. Let's see, 2 recent warrant applications assigned to Reinhardt entered the court system Monday, the Miami Herald reported, but those warrants and information about who they targeted remain sealed. Court records show another warrant issued by Reinhardt on Friday, but contents were also sealed. So, massive fishing expedition. So, yeah. So yeah, that's all I really had for today's rant. Hopefully, something newsworthy popped into all of this. And yeah, you see why I be the one, and student of history, thanks for tuning in. And wish I had a lot more articles to go over this, but unfortunately it's all basically the same information at this time, which is basically as useful as tits on a bowl. So, with that, I think I'll get ready to sign off here, gentlemen. And I will probably be seeing you guys tomorrow on the, Bezik's doing some gaming tomorrow with myself and Trim. And we will be having a little bit of fun. All right, gentlemen, have a great evening. Rest of chat, whenever you show up, have a great one too.